Tyler Stephenson will continue to impress in 2025. We'll tell you why on today's Locked On Reds.
You are Locked On Reds, your daily Cincinnati Reds podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Reds. Locked On Reds is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Stephen Offenbaker. I am joined today by special guest host Tim Daniel, and we both love the Cincinnati Reds. We both love baseball, and we spend tons and tons of time. This is my 7th season covering the Reds in podcast form. Tim's on every single other Reds show that is in existence pretty much all the time, talking Reds baseball. We love this team. We love baseball, and we love talking about it with you. On today's show, we're talking catcher number one, what you can expect from Tyler Stephenson in 2025. We're also going to take a look at areas we think he can and may improve in next season to help make the Reds a playoff contender. We're also going to be taking a look back at the best Red to ever wear the number 35, because Tim, believe it or not, we are just 35 days away from opening day at Great American Ballpark. Are you going to be down there on opening day? I'm going to be down there on opening day.
Yeah, because I told you I'd help you out.
That's right. We're going to be there. We're going to be doing things. So we are going to be at opening day. We're going to be in the door. We're going to be doing it all. All right, let's talk catcher number one, Tim, because this is not the same group of catchers this year heading into 2025 as we've had the last few years. Gone is Luke Maile. He has signed elsewhere, and really, I think a change needed to be made at that spot. I think bringing in Jose Trevino was an upgrade in many ways. I think that I feel a little bit more confident about having Trevino bat in 40 or 50 games than I did having Luke Maile bat in 40 or 50 games. Yeah, and I think that's just naturally going to lead Tyler Stephenson into a position of feeling pretty secure in his job, feeling pretty comfortable as catcher number one, coming off of a year where he had a decent second half. And really, I think, found his jam, found his lane. You know, everybody loves to joke, including you, loves to joke with me about my big misprediction on Tyler Stephenson a few years back of 40 home runs, right? Like, I got excited when I thought he was going to play, 150 games with rested legs and that he was going to hit for a lot of power. That did not come to fruition. But last season, he hit 19 home runs. And towards the end there, he looked really good. From your standpoint, a 2.4 catcher, 2.4 WAR catcher in 2024, OPS plus 112, not crazy, but 12% better than league average. From your standpoint, is there more room to grow? Does he have more of a ceiling, or is that the guy? Is that the catcher that we can expect the rest of the way?
I certainly think he has room to grow, and I expect him to grow. I predicted on my show already this year that I think he's going to have an all-star season, because if you look at the National League catcher position, not many guys you can say he's better than Tyler Stephenson. There are guys, don't get me wrong, but I don't think there's too many of them that are going to be in his way. I do also feel like there are ways where he's going to improve. When, like we saw last year, he made the jump specifically behind the dish, really became more comfortable. I mean, there was points where Hunter Green was actually willing to have him be his catcher. I don't think there was really public conversation on that by any means, but you saw the lineup every fifth day, and Tyler Stephenson wasn't on there, but now he is. And so it looks like they're going to kind of go that route there. You mentioned Trevino, who I am excited about to kind of be this backup catcher, but for Stevenson, I still think there's more power to be found. You mentioned it, 19 home runs last year. Majority of those came in July on. Like after he had his baby, which you and I know, when you have a daughter, everything in life changes for the better. I want to make sure I say that part.
The girl dad power
for sure. And so it seems like when he got back from his paternity leave, man, he just found his stroke. And I mean, starting the beginning of July on, he was great. And I fully suspect, not to talk too long in the tooth here, I apologize, but I do fully suspect that we're going to continue to see him grow. And I think we're having the potential conversation about Silver Slugger catcher this year.
That would be amazing. And that would be, I don't know if I'm ready to pull the trigger on that. I'm a little gun shy after the 40 home run thing.
Well, I predicted him in the opposite direction. If you remember last year, I was like, what's going on? And then he got really hot. Yeah.
I'm looking at, 19 home runs from him last season, considering that he didn't really catch fire until, like you said, July and into August. I look at that 19 home run total, and I think it's reasonable for 25 home runs out of Tyler Stephenson in 25. Let's start the campaign now. The banners, 25 and 25. Let's do it from Tyler Stephenson. I think that could happen, and I think that I like that. Not a lot's going to change for him from a standpoint of the voices in his ear, because J.R. House is still around. Tyler has said time and time again that he works really well with J.R. House, and that JR has done a lot to get him better behind the dish, as you talk about, and get his defensive metrics improved, his framing improved. The Hunter Green thing, it's interesting to me. And listen, this is not a shot at Hunter Green, because
no, whatever whatsoever.
Baseball, I mean, there are a lot of pitchers that have had their personal catchers. We see it. And it's not just the occasional off superstar. Greg Maddux had a personal catcher, but lots of pitchers personal catchers, just because they're best at reading the guy, or the pitcher's more comfortable, or for whatever the reason. Necessity, I think, helped Hunter Green get to a little more comfort with Tyler Stephenson, because it's just the way it had to be on some of those starts. And I think that knowing that Tyler's going to catch him going in, they'll spend some time together in Goodyear. They're going to be good to go on opening day, as far as, because Hunter's going to be the opening day starter, right?
Yeah, he should be.
So Hunter's going to be the opening day starter, and I think he's going to be good to go with Tyler Stephenson. Because I'll tell you this, Jose Trevino is not going to be the opening day catcher. That's not. That is not what is going to happen. I am speaking that into existence. Where hope is not my strategy. We are speaking it into existence. We are not having Jose Trevino as the opening day catcher, right? I expect big things from Tyler Stephenson. I think he's going to continue to grow, Tim. I think that he's going to have the ability, when you look at his 2024 numbers, his slash line at 258, 338, 444, there's a little room for uptick there. I think he can get on base a little bit more. I think that he's going to hit for a little bit more power. So the slugging's going to come up. The on-base percentage is going to come up. The batting average, he could be a 265 guy. That's not asking too much out of him.
Top 5 catcher hitting wise nowadays.
I think if he does that, I think you're right. He's going to be an all-star, or at least definitely in the conversation. All-star voting is going to be a weird thing for a while, especially given what's going on out in Los Angeles. But for me, I think Tyler could be there, at least, if not voted on, at least selected. The Reds are going to have more than a couple. Just as an aside, Tim, they're going to have a couple pitchers. They'll have a couple position players. Reds will be well represented, I think, and Tyler Stephenson could definitely be one of them. Of all of Tyler's game, what do you think makes him stand out more than any other area of his game? What's the thing you point to and be like, he is tremendous at that?
If you look at his spray chart, it's hitting the opposite direction.
Mm-hmm.
He's gotten really, really good at hitting oppo. He had a couple home runs last year in the right field. He had quite a few doubles. Looking at spray chart now, and funny enough, as you say that, I was kind of looking into it. So majority of his extra base hits were to the right field, according to Baseball Savant. And so I think that's where you kind of really see a lot of that in there. He just has this tendency to kind of work a count. And I think that's what's really, really nice too, man. So his exit velocity, he hits pretty hard. He's almost in the great range. But just his ability to square up has been really, really awesome as well, man. He just has an ability to put the ball in play, and ability to make really good contact, and ability to kind of extend a game and make things a lot more difficult on the pitcher. So that's where you look at Tyler Stephenson and go, okay, that's the guy.
Is he the number 4 hitter in this lineup? Given what we kind of think this team looks like, I mean, we kind of have an idea now of if everyone's healthy, always is the disclaimer. But if everyone's healthy, 4, 5, somewhere in that range.
So. Yeah, I would say so. For middle heart of the order for sure. Yeah. I think he's definitely there.
All right. Well, look, we try to be optimistic on this podcast, Tim. I know you know that. We try to be positive, but we're also realists. And while there are a lot of things to be happy and think that are going to continue as far as Tyler Stephenson goes in 2025, there is also some areas we think he could improve, some areas of concern, so to speak. And we're going to get into those coming up next. Are you looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios are one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. Wonderful Pistachios are a great snack. If you're out at the ballpark, just cracking those shells while you're watching the game. It's a perfect source of nutrition, keeps you from being hungry and keeps you in your seat so you don't miss any of the baseball action. They've got a lot of products to help keep you full and satisfied no matter where you're at. If you're in your office, Wonderful Pistachios even has a shell-free version for you so that you're not making a mess at your desk, but you're not starving either. Get some Wonderful Pistachios today. Get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. Make sure you are subscribed to the show. Click the subscribe button, click the notification bell, like the show. If you can't watch us on YouTube, we are available on pretty much every single audio podcasting feed there is. Subscribe there, take us in the car, take us to the gym. I tell you guys there in Cincy, you can take Jeff for a long walk by the river and listen to the show. We love talking Reds baseball with you. All right, Tim, let's dive back into this Tyler Stephenson talk, because while he did break out, there's been he's lost a significant amount of time to injuries before. I'm concerned about his ability to hold up in 130 games of catching or so, which is, interestingly enough, what he said his number is. We had him on a couple years back and I asked him directly, what's the magic number? What's the number of games you feel like you could play and be healthy and comfortable? He said 130. And I think that is probably, the maximum that I would allow him to catch. But interestingly enough, the Reds' problems at first base, their problems at third base, could create opportunities once again that you occasionally play Tyler Stephenson at first. You could also see him do some time at DH. And this is where my concern comes from. The last time the Reds tried that, it did not work at all. And I don't know if that's a product of just the coaching staff at the time, if that's just Tyler can't focus on the multiple positions, which I don't necessarily think is true. But I am concerned about it because we have heard from within the Reds organization that there is a potential for sure for Tyler to be in at DH from time to time, and also an occasional opportunity to play first base, depending on Spencer Steer's shoulder, depending on what third base looks like, because we're hearing rumblings that Jeimer Candelario may in fact be playing a lot of third base, splitting time with Gavin Lux. So how do you feel about trying once again to play Tyler Stephenson at multiple spots? I'm not a huge fan of it any longer. I don't mind him at DH, but I don't know if I want to see him play very much first base.
Oh, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I don't mind DH necessarily whatsoever. That part doesn't bother me. Hey, rest your legs for a couple of days.
Because that's a fake off day, right? Like,
yeah,
it's really kind of a pretend day off, right?
Yeah, rest your legs and swing the bat, and we're fine. Mm-hmm. First base, I don't want. I think they've got plenty of options at first base. Whether Spencer Steer's hurt or not, you still have other guys you can play there. You mentioned Candelario, Christian Encarnacion-Strand, which also God only knows if he can stay on the field. Gavin Lux has the ability to play first base, so you have options there. So I don't think we necessarily have to go that route. But I think my other big concern for him, Steve, is, and this is a lot of baseball, so this is not a Tyler Stephenson exclusive thing. Still has a tendency to swing and miss. Still has a pretty high tendency to do such a thing, and I get it. I mean, he's had 2 full years in the majors, counting the pandemic year, his injury years.
Three full seasons. 2021, he got 132 games. 2023, 142 games. 2024, 138 games.
Yeah. So that, I'm definitely worried about that. And honestly, man, yes, we are consistently talk about the fact he did improve behind the dish and has gotten better. Still not great. Not dogging him by any means, but I mean, got a slow pop time. He's, he's doing much better at framing, yes, but blocking pitches that hit the dirt, still something he's got to improve on. So I'm not here to criticize him by any stretch of the matter. I'm very high on him. You just heard me predict him winning a Silver Slugger. But yeah, I do think that there is some stuff defensively we still have to see him get better at, and I think he will. So,
and I think that we've seen in multiple positions being explained. That's one of the things that Terry Francona kind of hit on very early when he was introduced as Reds manager is a desire to have this team playing the game the right way, and talked a lot about defense and a lot about guys being successful in their positions. I think when Tito makes this lineup, and make no mistake, Tito will be making this lineup. This is not going to be a lineup by committee with Pickler and a computer. That is not what's happening anymore. This is going to be Tito Francona making a lineup, and I think he will just naturally put guys in positions to be successful. I hope that limits Tyler Stephenson floating around.
Me too.
I do think that J.R. House and Tyler are going to continue to work on improving his defense. We've seen, we mentioned it there in the first segment as one of the areas he's made improvement. He's actually gotten a lot better defensively, and I don't know that that's topped out yet. I think there's still room for him to improve and get better. He's an athletic guy, and I think that given the opportunity to focus in and improve his defense, he's going to continue to do that. And I expect that offensively, if you get him consistently in the lineup in that fourth or fifth hole, he's still going to have some strikeouts. He's still going to have some times where he chases. But I think he can do a lot of damage in that spot. Now, the Reds didn't go out and get that power hitter that we were looking for. And, I was beating on my desk all offseason going right-handed power hitting outfielder. It didn't happen. But I think Tyler Stephenson can give you 20, 25 home runs. You mentioned CS. He can give you another 25 home runs if he stays healthy. Jeimer Candelario hit 20. Ellie hit 25. This lineup, there could be a significant portion. I think Jeff and I figured out that if everybody does what they're reasonably projected to do, you could have 7 guys in this lineup with 20 home runs. And I think what that also allows is for the guy that's your number 4 hitter, the guy that's your number 5 hitter, doesn't have to press and be like, oh my God, I have to be the dude to hit the big shot right here, because if I don't, nobody's going to. I think this lineup has the potential to naturally protect each other in a way that everybody's going to see pitches, and that's going to just, as a byproduct, Tim, reduce the number of chases. Because, we talked about this with Ellie, Jeff and I did, that Ellie De Cruz didn't see a lot of actual strikes compared to other players in the league. They were avoiding him as much as they could. And I think that was a result of him, not being protected in the lineup at times. And I think this new lineup, everybody's going to protect everybody else. And I think Tyler Stephenson is one of the guys that could really reap a benefit from that, being able to cut down those chases, see good pitches to hit. And you hit on this in the first segment with his ability to take the ball the other way. The defense is going to have to play him straight up. There's going to be a lot of opportunity for gap doubles for, a guy that, he's a big dude. Won't see a lot of triples out of him, I don't think. But, some gap doubles, some oppo tacos, 20, 25 home runs. That's tremendous. And I think he can work his way into all that. I'm just concerned that if they move him around, it will have negative impacts on him again. That just kind of continues to be my number one real concern, because I think he's going to put in the work. He's going to put in the effort, and he has the ability to tweak his game in these other areas. But I just keep falling back to just kind of let Tyler cook, put him in there, let him catch 130 games, let him DH some, and let him cook.
Yeah, I'm completely with you. You kind of mentioned earlier, just kind of this ability to have this lineup take care of each other. And that was the point I was going to make. He's not going to be hitting right behind Ellie De La Cruz, but a spot or two behind him in the order. And more often than not, in that circumstance, Ellie's going to be on base when he comes to the plate. So he's probably going to see a lot more fastballs, because people are going to want to try to make sure they keep Ellie on the base path. So I do certainly think he's going to have that ability to do so. As also you mentioned all those guys who position 20 home runs, everything looks like Matt McLean's back, and it seems like all systems are go there as well. And he's not a bad person either to have on the base path as well. So there is a lot to like about him. Yeah, I think you're right. We did both lay out a couple things where we can see him get better. We're obviously not expecting him to go out there and all of a sudden steal 5-6 bags by any means. So that would be nice.
How does the top 4 of the lineup of something along the lines of McLean, De La Cruz, Friedel, Stevenson, whatever order you put those 4 guys in, that's not a bad 1 through 4.
Yeah, especially when you know who your manager is and you're gonna have a new game plan. So
I'm excited. I truly am excited about the impact, and this could make Tyler Stephenson, for the not the old timers, that'll get me yelled at, but the seasoned baseball fans, the Tony Perez guy Who's going to be the Tony Perez guy of this team? Who's going to be the guy that finds himself in the situation to be the RBI guy, the guy that drives in the runs? That's a real opportunity, I think, for Tyler Stephenson. He could be that guy for this team. The reliable, just get in there and get you timely hitting with lots of guys on base.
Yeah, I completely agree. And that's kind of the role I suspect he's going to play, specifically in this order with the guys hitting ahead of him.
All right, Tim. Tyler's been fun to talk about, and we're getting closer and closer and closer to opening day, closer and closer to real baseball. I can't wait. And so with 35 days to go, we're going to talk about the best red to ever wear the number 35. We're doing that next. Spring training is getting started. Baseball is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. They've got tons of Reds-related futures right now, and my favorite one of those, Hunter Green's strikeout total for 2025. They have him set at 160.5. That's right, 161 strikeouts from Hunter Green, and you win. I'm going to take the over because Hunter Green, he is going over. Looking for more than just baseball? Check out the NBA, because with FanDuel, you can place live bets throughout the game. So even if you missed the opening tip-off and you want to bet on the fourth quarter comeback, you can stay in the action. And if you're looking for a bigger payout, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets back if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets back. Make every moment more with FanDuel. Coming up tomorrow on Locked On Reds, we are going live 2 p.m. Eastern time, and we'll be talking Reds baseball with you, kind of taking your questions as we get to the biggest event of spring training, which is the first games are being played this coming weekend. Can't wait to get our first look at the old Redlegs. We'll be talking about all of that on Fridays Live. All right, Tim, 35 days until opening day at Great American Ballpark. This is a fun little exercise we've been doing, talking about the best guys, in our opinion. That's our disclaimer. This is just our opinion of the best to wear the number as we work our way towards opening day. So with 35 days to go, we're looking at the number 35. There's a couple candidates on this list. Don Gullett's on this list. Frank Pastore's on this list. That's really the candidates on the list. I see Ernie Lombardi way back in 1938, but he only wore that number for one season. So per our rules that were arbitrarily decided by me, he gets excluded because he only wore the number for a year of his playing time in Cincinnati. So that dials me back in on Don Gullett. Pitched for the Reds from 70 to 76. And then, of course, spent a lot of years back here as the Reds pitching coach for the organization. I believe was the pitching coach in 1990, I'm pretty sure. I think he was Lou Pinella's pitching coach. If I'm remembering that wrong, look, it's been a long time. But Don Gullett, during his time for the career, amassed an 18.2 WAR, 7 years in Cincinnati. Of that 18.2, 14.1 in WAR as a member of the Cincinnati Reds. He started a grand total of 156 games, pitched in 236, threw over 1,000 innings, career ERA 3.03. Wasn't a big strikeout guy. His strikeouts per 9 during his time in Cincinnati, 5.9, but he kept his walks at a respectable 3 per 9 inning. Good guy. Won a couple World Series with this team. If you have seen the wide angle shot here, I'll give it to the YouTube viewers. If you're listening on the audio feeds, my background is my bookshelves, and on my bookshelves is the pyramid of baseballs, the starting lineup for game 1 of the 1975 World Series. So there's a Don Gullett ball up there. Started game 1 of the 1975 World Series, and the Reds, of course, win that one in 7. So Don Gullett's my pick. Do you see that differently? Are you a Pastore guy, or do you think it's somebody else?
I think it's hard to pick against Don Gullett in this circumstance. You mentioned, obviously, all those great things he did. Back-to-back World Series. Actually, technically, won back-to-back-to-back World Series. We just don't have to talk about 77.
We're not going to talk about that.
So his last full year actually pitched in the majors, too, at that. So, yeah, obviously, I think he's your correct answer. Obviously, you look at 71, he was terrific for that team. And then also 73 and 74 had really, really good years. Consistently good in his tenure with the Reds, minus that's, really, I think really his worst year. He was like 9 and 10 with a 3.9. So, you live with that. But this is not exactly a historic number in Reds history by any means.
No, it's not.
So, you mentioned a couple guys there, but I was wondering if you were going to bring up your old pal Alejo Lopez.
So I did see him on the list, and I still contend that Alejo never got a fair shake.
You and Nate Dotson both.
He could have been a singles machine, man. He could have been the next Luis Quinones. He could have been the next guy off the. I don't know. I always thought that just because he didn't hit for a lot of power didn't mean he couldn't have maybe put together a couple good seasons at the big league level. I just didn't think they gave him a fair shake. But, if we're going to talk about the recency guys on the number 35, some fun names. Tanner Roark, if you get traded at an Arby's, you're forever on my list of guys that, at least desire a mention on the show. Doubles machine Austin Wynns is the most recent guy to wear the number 35. Boy, talk about just a flash of it's almost it's almost up there with Lavarnway as catchers to make a quick impression, right? Not quite Lavarnway level, but was pretty good for a hot minute there.
Yeah, I feel like Lavarnway is like, how smart of a Reds fan are you?
Right?
It's like that's like the line. But yeah, I mean, not necessarily the world's greatest number. I'm kind of looking through the list right now too, as well. And it's like, you mentioned Woody Fryman for a year, Randy St. Clair, which is a cool name.
Right.
Yeah. Kirk Saarloos from a little 2007 team, shout out.
I don't even remember that guy. So
yeah. And then here's a cool name from 92. I don't know anything about him. I can't remember him, but Geronimo Baroa. Pretty cool name.
I'm sure Ken has his jersey, obscure ex-Reds. These are the ones where Ken starts posting pictures. I guarantee you we're going to see the Lavarnway jersey. Ken has the Lavarnway jersey.
I know.
Right? I'm sure you know.
I've been at games where he's worn it many times.
You're right. So, all right, that's the number 35. I'm looking forward to opening day getting to us. I can't wait, Tim. Thanks so much, Tim, for pinch hitting for Jeff today. Everybody, I think, knows at this point where to find you over at the Riverfront. You're also talking Cleveland Cavaliers basketball. Just give us a quick rundown of the spots. Go.
Oh, God. Okay. So, yes, I'm over at the Riverfront with Late Night Reds and also Riverfront Red Show right now, filling in. Currently also filling in on Welcome to the Jungle, our Bengals show, talking about the Cleveland Cavaliers, the number one team in the NBA. Cleveland Cavaliers will tied for first with On the Block, The Shot, The Stop. And then also, hey, if you have a vacation in mind, you want to take your family on this summer, check me out at Tim the Travel Agent on all your social media needs as well.
All right, that's going to do it for this edition of Locked On Reds. Thanks so much for making us your first listen. We'll be back in your feeds tomorrow with a live show, and we will be looking at the first games of the year as spring training games get underway this weekend with the Reds taking on the Guardians with a split squad debut. Until next time, that's going to do it for us. We will be in your feeds gathering up all the news, the information, the rumors, and the reports to keep you locked on Reds every single day. I didn't call you wish.com Jeff one time in this.
It happens.